Miss Teacher, do I get a grade? Do I get a better grade if I min-max? No. You do not get better grades if you min-max. Min-maxing is cringe. Right. Here is the agenda. And I know there are multiple genders, but here's my agenda for today. 1. I don't know why I'm doing this like a drill. Hi, it's me, MissedStrange, your teacher. This is English class, otherwise known as Miss Class. Hello. We are going to go over how to create a character sheet so that you, yes, you, can get started playing D&D. We are going to go over how to create a character sheet and what all the funny numbers mean. D&D character sheets are very scary looking by design, right? Very, very scary looking by design. I don't know why. I think they are really intimidating to new people. I'll show you how to make a character, what all the funny numbers mean, and understand what you need to put on the sheet, and where you get all this stuff, and how you put them on your sheet. Now, let me preface. I do not have a perfect science to this, okay? Every time I made a character, I have done it differently. We're only going to go over like character sheet stuff. Like we're not going to go like in depth with like backstory and other stuff. Just the numbers and where you get stuff for the numbers. Because that's kind of what we're here for. One of the things that stop people from playing this game is genuinely how, I'm going to say this and I mean this, it's not beginner friendly. If you've never played a role-playing game and you see a character sheet, it's terrifying.
If I ever got to play D&D, I think I would be the typical bard or melee ranged character, clapping all the cheeks.
I usually get stuck on what to put on my sheet and knowing what I can choose and put down. Well, we'll go over that because we are gonna go through these slides, but we also are gonna make one together, and I'm gonna basically explain, because for me, I played this game for 6-7 years, right? Nearly 8 now. It's as simple as breathing to me. But that's why I want to teach you, because I want your life to be easier. As much as I stream and I make your life a living hell, I do want your life to be easy and fun. So that you can enjoy the actual part of D&D, which is, you know, playing the game. What the heck is a character sheet? And why do I have to have one? Behold! Character sheet! Whoa! Like... It's so scary, I know. What do the numbers mean? We're gonna go through this step by step. There are gonna be things that we missed because I wanted to highlight them more when we do like the seminar workshop of our lecture. This is the lecture part, and then we've got the seminar part. Oh no, shiver me timbers. Ah, the words, what do they mean? But this is a character sheet. Don't worry, I'll hold your hand if you're scared of numbers and letters. I am notoriously awful at maths, so this is kind of gonna be interesting. A character sheet encompasses everything your character is and can do, aka what they can do and how they can do those things, or like where they got certain things. It has abilities, your class, your skills, your equipment, sometimes your backstory, your race, other things like feats. We'll get into feats. And it sounds like a lot. The best way to do it is to build your character sheet as it goes. But yes, there's a lot of stuff. But if you see your character sheet as like essentially a very fun to-do list, it makes it a lot simpler when you're going through. So this is going to be different for everyone, but this is the way I do it, okay? And this is the way I'm going to teach you. Step 1, your ability scores. We'll talk about ability scores in a second. Step 2, picking your race and class. Step 3, background, so like the stuff that will kind of make up your backstory. Skills, after you do your background. I like, because obviously you get your skills from your background, and then your class skills, and then you do the rest of your skills afterwards. And then equipment at the very end. As a general rule of thumb, when you start playing D&D, the first thing you will work on is your character sheet before you come to a session 0. Sometimes maybe if you're new, the DM will guide you through it in a session 0. But the thing about session 0s is that you don't tend to have a lot of time to explain everything because you want to play D&D. And that's what you want to do. If you're going to get into D&D, There are two things you have to be aware of when it comes to this. This is just my general advice. You will have to read. I know none of you like reading, but you're gonna have to. And you can skim read. You do not have to read like all the lore and everything. Like you can just go to the places you want to. D&D is built upon books, and books are the backbone of D&D in terms of there are, the actual books and then like the books your DMs steal characters and things. But yeah, you will select your class, race, and background from reading the books and whatever catches your interest. Like, for example, I don't expect a player to read all of the backgrounds. Hell, I even haven't read all the backgrounds, okay? Right? I don't have time for that. But you should pick ones that you're interested in and read them effectively. Just read them. If you're gonna reread, they're not that long. I'll show you some examples later. Kind of like if you played games, there are like expansions. Like there are things that, expand the races that you can play, or the classes you can play, or the backgrounds you can pick. This is a thing you have to ask your DM when you do session 0. But yes, reading is important, and numbers are important. I know, boo, we hate numbers, but numbers play a big part in D&D. The most you'll ever be doing is doubling numbers, plussing numbers together, and maybe subtracting numbers. You're not going to be doing like long division, like dividing by like 2 9 times out of 10, right? It's not hard. You have paper. Do you and me pull out a scientific calculator every session? My DM kit, I've had it since I started DMing, scientific calculator. But yeah. But understanding all the funny numbers now will make your future D&D better. Like, it will make your life so much better, right? Anyway, sorry, we've had a lot of time on the 2 aspects. Right, ability scores. So, ability scores are these big ones. We were talking about these earlier. And they are the thing you should start with. They are the basics of your character. They determine how versed you are in something. I don't want to say skilled, but like, for example, if your strength ability score is like a big number, like 16, then that means you're good at it. Anything like in D&D, 10 is average, because obviously you're rolling D20 dices. The biggest number your ability score can be is 20. The lowest it can be, at least according to D&D, is technically 1, but we like to use the baseline of 8, and you'll find out why. It's just easier. 8 or 20 is fine. But they determine how versed you are, or how like adept you are at something. Like, if you are good at picking up rock as opposed to dodging rock, essentially. And these will give you modifiers that add on to your skills. So at the beginning of a game, you can do 3 systems to find out what your ability scores are. Most people like to use dice, and that's called the rolling dice method. I'm not going to teach you that today, because every player when you start out should always use standard array. Point buy is kind of like in games when like you min-max and like you like pick all the points and you put them in spots. That's fine too. I don't think it's beginner friendly, especially if you don't know what all the funny numbers mean. Standard array, literally what that means, the game has numbers in the PHP that they give you. I believe these numbers are 16, 15, 13, 14, oh no, definitely not 14. It's 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8, yes. And those numbers determine modifiers. So for every even number that you have in D&D, you have a modifier. So for example, for a 15, you would have a +2, I believe. Yeah, 16, 7, yeah. Yeah, a +2. So the big number for that goes up here. That would be the 15. And the little number, the modifier, would go in the little box. In my ruling, you know what I mean? In my mind, in my perfect world, that's where it goes. And you'll do that for every stat. So basically, if you're playing like a rogue, everyone knows D&D rogues. You want to be good at dexterity and maybe something else of your choice. So you put the bigger number there, and then you'd thin out the other numbers. It's good in D&D to be bad at something and to be good at something, because your character cannot be good at everything. I know we're playing fantasy, but your character can't be good at everything, okay? So, you know, you have to pick something to be bad at. Whatever that is your choice. It must be flawed. Yeah, like, I have personally had players who have put their 8 into their constitution. Most D&D players wouldn't do that. But that player specifically chose to do that, knowing it would give him a minus to health, and I think he is one of the most fun people I've ever ran like a one-shot for. I ran a short campaign a really long time ago, and he was so fun, because he was so happy to know that he was a paladin too. But yes, we'll go over sound array a bit more when we make the character sheet together. But yeah, we're using sound array today. It is the simplest way to make a character. My long-term character of like 7-8 years now is a standard array character. And she's beefy. She's a beefy woman and she will kill you. Yes, but your ability scores will modify your skills. So like, high dexterity will give bonuses to high dexterity based skills. Now you're like, Strange, what the fuck is a skill? We'll go over skills in a second, but ability scores, these are two really good graphics. Let me move my face off screen for a second. These are two really good graphics. You'll hear lots of people say like the tomato thing with D&D. So with ability scores, I actually use the left one a bit more. I don't use the tomato one because like sometimes it's a bit silly and like you want to just get like out. But strength, punch stuff. Can you run real fast and good? Dexterity, steal stuff, sneak good. Constitution, eat stuff, health good. Intelligence is investigation and then think good. Wisdom is decide good, and a charisma is like, it's kind of it's the social skill. So it's like sing good, lie good, talk good. It's super, super simple. People often mix up intelligence and wisdom. Wisdom is more to do with like morals, while intelligence is more to do with like investigation in D&D. But there's the tomato thing. But after your ability scores, you have your skills. So skills are basically more specific versions of your abilities. So you'll notice that these, so for example, let's go down the list. In D&D, there are several skills, such as acrobatics, animal handling, arcana, athletics, deception, history, insight, intimidation, investigation, medicine, nature, perception, performance, persuasion, religion, sleight of hand, stealth, and survival. Thank you. Now you're like, Strange, that was a really long list, and you read it out really fast. It's fine. You're mostly going to be worried about the skills that you're good at. So these are like more specific things your character is good at. So for example, let's go with acrobatics, because it's the first one. Acrobatics is decided by your dex. So for example, you know how he said that if you had a 15, you would have a +2. We'll go back. So you would put, before you do anything else, you put a +2 in there. So you put like +2. And then, for example, let's say that you have bad like intelligence, or like your intelligence is like 10, so it's like there's no modifier. Then you put 0, and then you go down and you basically just mark all of these. Top tip, if you're using a physical character sheet, use a pencil. You're going to be changing this very, very often. Use a pencil. Or do like, use like popper wallets. I actually have I work for a company that makes really good ones. So I get them like really cheap. If you want one, I'll send one to you, I'm joking. But I have loads. I have like maybe like an industrial size thing of popper wallets, because I like to write on the wallets themselves. It's so much nicer. Ability scores are different, skills are different. It will happen to everyone, don't worry. But yes, everything's decided by these, and they're more specific skills that play off of your ability score modifiers. being proficient in a skill means you're better than the average Joe, and it will give you a better modifier. We'll talk about proficiency a little bit later, but to TLDR, proficiency is based on your level. So if you're level 1, your proficiency is like +2, I believe. And as you level up, you will gain more proficiency, which will give you a better plus to everything, essentially. So as you're leveling up, even if you're not getting like new abilities, you're going to be getting better because you've been adventuring longer. Because you are adventurers at the end of the day. Things like class and background will determine what you're proficient in at like this level. So when you go higher up in the game, you will get more access to more things that make you better at more stuff. But when you're level 1, it's just class and background. And race sometimes. Race will play, we'll do, when we make a character, I'm going to specifically make an elf character, and that's because elf is the best way for you to understand how certain things work, like when you're making a race. Yeah, like, in most cases, a cleric is going to know more about religion than a rogue. Like, 9 times out of 10, okay? I went back a slide like an idiot. Skills is... So we've already gone over the ability scores. They're these ones. Also, it's rainbow, because we love gay people here. Anyway, these are really long, but this is the best graphic that Peb could find for this. So, this explains the skills a bit better. I'm only going to cover ones that I don't think are very obvious. Athletics and acrobatics are different. Acrobatics is, can you do a cool flip? Athletics is, can you lift the barrel, lift a heavy thing? Sleight of hand is, are you good at like stealing shit from people? Stealth is, how good are you at hiding from people? Yeah. Arcana and history, people get mixed up a little bit. Or like they get confused. Arcana is all to do with like items and magic items and anything to do with magic is Arcana, and history it is all to do with like the lore of the world in general. You can use them kind of interchangeably, but it's up to you. Also, hi Fallen, welcome. Animal handling, can you pet a horse good? Can you pet a horse good? Survival, oh my god, sorry, video. Survival is all to do with, can you, like, if you're like in the middle of nowhere, when it comes to, you're in the middle of nowhere, can you find where you need to go? It's like navigation, kind of. Or like survival instinct as well. The charisma skills are quite obvious. Deception, intimidation, performance, persuasion. If you played any sort of RPG, you know what these do. You know how to lie. I know you know how to lie. I know how to lie. You know how to lie. I know how to lie. Okay? Like, we know lying. I am religion. Religion is to do with, like, gods and other stuff. There are so many skills to go over, but when you pick your character, like, when you pick your background, you will get given 2 of these, or like a choice between a couple of them. So you get to pick how good you are at something and how bad you are at something. If you become proficient in it, you're better. What? Lie? Me? No, I'm a good person. Lying is bad. Okay, paladin player. I say as a paladin player of 7 years. Other bits. You have, so people, it's called armor class. Everyone will call this AC in D&D. Don't be scared. AC just means armor class. Your armor class is your armor plus your dexterity modifier. So, yeah, it does have a limit. We'll go over the limit later. We're gonna make like a rogue elf character. Like, we're gonna make like the most basic, like, baby's first D&D character. Where are my ranger lovers? Ranger? I hardly know her. Anyway, we'll see it later about this stuff, but yes. Initiative is your dexterity modifier. This is used in combat. It determines, so when combat starts, you will roll a d20, like so. and then you will plus your dexterity modifier onto that. Initiative is another thing that basically is a simplified version of it, because there are things that can enhance and get rid of your AC, your initiative. Sorry. If you like AC/DC, you won't have to be scared of neither AC nor DC. And then your hit points is determined by your class plus your constitution. So it is determined by a couple of things. And your speed, it's how fast your character can go on a turn. It's usually determined by your race. There are class features, like for example, monk will get faster as they level up because it's monk. So like, you know. Also, God, thank you so much for the follow. Sorry, I've been yappinating over here, so I haven't been able to like be so focused. But yes, yappinating. These other bits are honestly so much better explained when we practically make a sheet. Like, when we make a sheet, we will go through the character monster to do it. And then we'll also do it manually, because it takes me about 2 seconds to do it. And it's so much better to do this. Oh yes, there's also a section on your sheet called attacks and spellcasting. This is used to list your weapon attacks or your spells or your abilities that you can use in combat. And yeah, your equipment, weapon proficiencies, class, race, and ability scores can have an effect on what weapons/spells you can use. For example, you know, a level 1 fighter is not gonna be able to sling a firebolt or a fireball because they don't learn that at level 1. But like, for example, a wizard is gonna have access to that. So you're gonna put, depending on what you're playing, you're gonna put different stuff there. And yeah, your ability scores determine your attack bonus modifiers, aka strength will help you swing a big sword, intelligence will help wizards cast spells, etc. Like, it's all to do with stuff like that. And then equipment, another tiny section on the sheet. It's used to list the items that your character has. no shit, but like, if you have weapons or armor or adventuring gear or 20 fucking things of soap or magic items or gold or a random item the DM told you to put on your character sheet because it's important, put it on your character sheet. I cannot understate this enough. I hold the most useless items. I hate hoarding in D&D. I actually want to go over what one of my character sheets looks like. Because I'm like, when I use online character sheets, I am very particular. Oh, by the way, 9 times out of 10 in D&D, you can't hold everything. This isn't like, it's like Skyrim, right? You can have 50 wheels of cheese, but can you hold 50 wheels of cheese? So there is an item capacity limit or like a weight system in D&D, which is determined off your strength, I believe. Most DMs use it so that people don't hold like stupid stuff on their person. Oh my god, what was that? Do you guys see that? Why did it do that? I'm sorry. But yes, features and traits. Another part of your sheet that will become important. This is used to list everything else. So every racial trait you get, every feat you get, every class trait you get, any background trait you get. Racial traits are gained upon, obviously, you know, picking the race at the beginning of the game. Make this very known. If you play a certain race of a character and you try to change it in the middle of the campaign, it's not gonna fly. Class is a bit different. You can probably definitely change class in D&D, but race, like other established things, possibly not without magic, essentially. But you get racial traits, you get class traits, and you get feats when you level up, and they will give you unique abilities that you can't get, like, usually. Like, for example, if you're playing my example, you're playing a fighter, and you want to be able to pummel people to death with your fists, you want to pick up Tavern Brawler, for example. Because usually, you can do that, but there's some negatives imposed onto that. Some thingies to end the PowerPoint of. There are obviously going to be things that I've missed or haven't explained very well, but that's why we're making the character sheet. But I think and I believe that D&D can be learned by gathering the basics and learning along the way. You will never make a perfect character sheet the first time you play D&D. And that's fine. Survey says that's okay. Okay? You're allowed to do that. But you do need to have a willingness to learn, a willingness to ask questions even if they seem stupid, and be curious to learn this game. Sometimes a DM will play with you and let you break rules, or you might change the thing a little bit. That's fine. You're learning. Everyone's learning. As long as you're learning at a baseline, it's all good. And I cannot understate this enough. Use the books as a reference, not a guide. Rules as written can be very, very stinky sometimes. So do what works for your table. As a DM, we'll talk about DM advice another day, but DM advice, that's just do what works for your table. And also, if all your friends have figured out how to make a character sheet and are better than you, you will learn at your own pace. You will totally learn at your own pace. I've had players who don't play D&D as often as me, and they will learn at a different pace because of that. I play D&D twice a week, okay? God's forgiving. If I don't play D&D at least twice a week, I lose my mind a little bit. I get the shakes. But if you've got somebody who plays in their campaign once a month, they're gonna have less experience. Or maybe they just play your one D&D game. Just work with the people you play D&D with. It's like everything. Play responsible. Yeah. And don't think that you have to do homework. Oh my god. I hate people who think they have to do homework for this game. D&D is not homework. D&D is not homework. If you are spending hours on your character sheet by yourself, and you're not enjoying it, I should add, that is a chore, that is not a hobby at that point. If you want to learn D&D by talking to your friends, or you want to learn D&D by, watching videos online, or watching streams like this, or reading blogs. That's the way I learn. I just learn by reading blogs and also playing with people. I do D&D homework, but if it's a hobby and you like it, that's fine. But don't, consume your whole life because of it. Don't feel stressed that you don't know everything. That's my advice. That is the baseline. Do not feel stressed that you don't know everything. Some of us have full-time jobs. Me, my full-time job is dealing with you. But it's fine. I want to do more educational stuff, Education. We know Peb did all the work. Survey says that's wrong. Survey, did Peb do all the work? Did MissedStrange at least try to do some of the work? Alright, okay.